So over the weekend, another performance from the Dogs, another bunch of commentary from folks who cover the team on television. This time from former Alabama quarterback and ESPN college football analyst Greg McElroy, who had this to say Saturday night after the games. I think Stetson Bennett is the guy until proven otherwise. However, when JT Daniels is at 100%, assuming he gets there this year, it will likely be his show because this Georgia offense will be at its best with him under center. I don't know what your view is on that. There's a subscription coming in. If you're not going to dogpost.com right now and taking advantage of what we've got to offer, $1 for a month, you're really missing out. I think the thing for me about this discussion is where do you want to be when the playoff gets here? Because it's becoming pretty clear that Georgia will be in the playoff, and they will probably be, obviously at that stage it's a must-win game. I think even before that, a month before that, in the SEC championship game against Texas A&M, Alabama, or Auburn, you're going to want to win that game. Clearly, you want to control everything. You want to win the league. There's all sorts of things. The question is, does Stetson give you the better chance to do that, or does JT? And, I think this was the first game that Stetson did not play well. Against South Carolina, he had a play where I was not enthralled with that play, with the interception. Lots of subscriptions. Y'all are missing out. I'm telling you right now, go to dogpost.com. $1 for a month. That's not going to last forever. And Stetson has played well this season. I mean, his game at Auburn was really lights out, and he has played admirably. But I think there's something about JT that can seemingly unlock this offense that we've not seen with as much ease under Stetson. I think that the concern coming into this week was that Stetson in a big game did not play his best game. You're not always going to do that. I mean, against Cincinnati, JT did not play well, but he played perfectly fine against, and he did what he had to do against Cincinnati, the same way Stetson did. So this is not going to stop. I think the one kind of issue I have with making a change is the ability of Stetson to run. I mean, it's something that that most football players don't have. And so that's the question is, are you ready to check out of that? The conditions on Saturday were not a lot of fun. And if you weren't on the field, you maybe you understand what I'm saying. A lot of wind to deal with. It was not great. And Stetson's legs really got Georgia out of some trouble at times. So that's the thing. Now, first of all, I do want to see JT play, whether he's starting or not, because there's a certain viciousness that comes with this offense when he's out there. But I also want to see this entire team at full strength. We've still not seen George Pickens. We've still not seen Don Blaylock. We've had very limited exposure to Jermaine Burton. Now, that was the case last year with Jermaine, but then when JT came into the Mississippi State game, all of a sudden Jermaine Burton becomes a star. We saw a lot more of what Kieris did with Stetson Saturday when JT was in there a season ago. So what do you want to become? That's the question. Are you cool with what you've got? And it certainly isn't bad. So in this realm of decision making, we've seen in the recent past that a more gifted quarterback can lose his starting position at Georgia if the backup comes in and plays well. Stetson Bennett is playing far better than Jake Fromm did in 2017. Please do not make comments like what I just said is not true, because it's totally true. Go back and watch the Florida game from 2017. Go back and watch the Tennessee game from 2017. Show me where Jake Fromm or the quarterback mattered in either of those games in any way. They didn't. That person didn't matter. So, Stetson has made plays with his feet. Jake Fromm did that against Tennessee in 2017. Stetson's made plays with his feet consistently. He has killed people at times with the passing game down the field. It's just not been as consistent as we've seen. And honestly, he just didn't play well against Florida. I mean, it happens. They won by 4 touchdowns. But I think the problem is when you have a guy with the ability of JT Daniels behind you, with the experience and the proven, winning ability that he's had as well, that's a problem. You're going to have to fight to keep your job. After the game, I took Kirby's comments as, hey, we started Stetson because of continuity. JT's not practiced a lot. Well, there's going to come a time where JT's practiced a lot. Insiders told us they just thought Stetson had a better week. So, I don't know. Last Monday, JT seemed to be getting a lot of the snaps, but that's in a limited amount of time that we get to watch practice. So, what will happen moving forward? I don't know. We've got this Missouri game, which Georgia's almost a 40-point favorite. So, you want to play 4 quarterbacks this weekend? You could. And you got the Tennessee game, which is a little bit tricky. I mean, let's not act like it's not. So that game up there where you're going to need some points, it's on the road. This is going to be the last time Georgia plays a game where they're in a hostile environment. Because every game they play from this point forward after Tennessee, it's going to be a friendly crowd. It's going to be at least 50%, if not 60% friendly. And I'm including the SEC championship game against Alabama in that discussion. In Miami, they're going to be lopsided fans in Miami if they play there. In Dallas, unless they're playing Oklahoma, they're going to have at least 50%, if not more, of the crowd. In Indianapolis, they would have at least 50%, if not more, of the crowd, unless they're playing Ohio State. And even then, I don't know. So I know the Georgia fan base. They're going to travel. They're going to spend their money. They have money to spend. That's why people are subscribing to Dog Post. That's what you're hearing the dings. We've had 6 subscriptions since I've been talking. Why are you not a subscriber? With all that said, 7, the quarterback situation at Georgia is made a little bit simpler because you're not going to Auburn late. You're not traveling to Florida. You're not going to Arkansas. Places like that. I mean, Georgia's had 2 legit road games. And in one of those legit road games, JT Daniels straight up balled out. The other one, Stetson Bennett played really well. So Georgia has got a situation for sure, as they would say on Jersey Shore. But what comes of this is really important. This Georgia defense is as dominant a group, that I've seen in person in Georgia's time, in the 40 or so years I've been watching Georgia football. No unit has been like this group. But I got to tell you, the offense is not at 100% right now. It's probably at 75%. And that last 25% is going to make a big difference. There's going to come a time, I think, there's going to come a time where this defense is going to give up more than 14 points. It's going to happen, right? Right? So there could come a time where you really do need the offense to push you forward in a way that we suspected coming into the season. I thought Georgia would need to score about 45 points a game to win the national championship. And the jury's still out. We're just going to have to see. But, man, the way this defense is playing, 8, and I appreciate everybody signing up. It is a great deal. We have great subscribers at Dog Post, and you are missing out. I'm going to let you know that right now. The way this offense could be playing, I think they could score 40-something, 50-something points a game. They just might not have to this season. And we're just going to have to see. I mean, we can't know what the future holds. But Georgia's, in 8 games, been pretty sick on defense. And, do you have to make a firm decision at quarterback? I don't know that you do. I think you do have to play JT Daniels. I think it's smart to do that. I mean, Stetson Bennett played in every game except Clemson, and JT needs to be playing in these games. Now, Kirby doesn't listen to me all the time, and this is not one of the situations where he would listen to me, but I do think that it's time to get him in there because if he's rusty, he needs to play. Because then you need to get a firm, full grasp on where you're at with these quarterbacks. Because I can believe that Stetson would outperform JT in a practice, but only the last 10 days has JT been able to throw without pain. It takes time. I can speak to experience on this front. It does take time to get your rhythm back. He's not a robot. So if you're not feeling quite right, a little time, maybe that's what JT, needs. We're at the point where he's had a little time now. I mean, we're coming on 6 weeks of him not playing, and there's a critical 6 weeks coming up. Greg McElroy, one last time. I think Stetson Bennett is the guy until proven otherwise. However, when JT Daniels is at 100%, assuming he gets there this year, it will likely be his show because this Georgia offense will be at its best with him under center. Now, Greg is totally hedging there, which I get. But I think basically what Greg is saying, and he can come on here and he can correct himself, whatever, is that full healthy JT should be the guy under center. That's the decision that Kirby and them are going to have to make. Let's go talk about it on the website. You hear the dings; those legit were subscriptions. You need to make sure to go to dogpost.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the website.